Hello, I'm Officer Alexandra Parker with the Austin Police Department Public Information's Office. At approximately 8:10 a.m., 911 received reports of a male who was with a weapon hitting people inside the McDonald's, which is located at 9422 North Lamar Boulevard. Officers arrived on scene at approximately 8:16 a.m. and located a victim who was injured. They also located the suspect who was pointing a possible firearm at police officers and then barricaded himself inside the business. Occupants of the restaurant were then safely evacuated, and the victim was transported to a local area hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The SWAT team and negotiators responded to assist patrol officers, and with the expertise of all patrol officers and specialized units, the suspect was taken into custody. Officers are now conducting a thorough investigation to determine what exactly occurred today. I'm happy to take any of your questions.
What were the injuries the victim had?
I'm not sure. The only thing I know is that they're non-life-threatening. I believe he might have been hit with an object.
Do you know what that object was?
We're working to determine that as well.
And the suspect pointed a possible firearm.
So what officers could see is that he holding an object that was consistent with a firearm. When I last checked, just before our briefing time here, they were still waiting to conduct a thorough search on the suspect's belongings, and so I don't know if they recovered a firearm or not yet.
Do the suspect and victim know each other?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did this happen inside the building?
Correct.
Was that an employee who was beaten?
Yes, it was an employee who was injured.
Do you know if the victim was a male, female?
I believe the victim was a male.
The suspect a member of the transient community in this area, and is he known to?
Sure. That much I cannot say. Again, before I last checked, officers were still working to identify the suspect. He was not wanting to say much.
Did he come out willfully, or did they extract him?
So I believe that the suspect was coming in and out of the business, and at a certain point, officers were able to safely get him out.
Did he hit more than one person or just one?
At this time, what I know for certain is that only one person had an actual complaint of injury or visible injury, so I'm not sure if he actually attempted to assault anyone
How many
else.
people, customers, and employees were inside at the time?
I cannot tell you for sure, sir.
Were customers inside at the time?
Yes, I believe there were customers and employees inside the business.
And describe that moment. You know, he was pacing in and out of that. Was it this door here?
Correct. The information I have is that he was kind of pacing in front of the front door, and at times was kind of going out of view of what officers could see, so kind of into an area where there were no windows or sight inside the business. I'm not sure what he was doing in there, just not coming out.
Inside, or did he come out and the officers just kind of grabbed him then?
I believe it was outside the business that he was actually taken into custody.
Describe that. He just kind of walked out and the officers just kind of grabbed him?
I can't tell you any more than what I have. I know that there was an exchange of words, commands, and the suspect ultimately complied with what he was given.
Were officers inside at all trying to get the suspect to come
I
out?
do not believe officers ever went into the business, just because of the way that it was set up, like he was a barricaded subject. So we want to always try and keep everyone as safe as possible and not go in if we don't have
But
to.
it turned out he really wasn't barricaded because he was kind of like popping in and out.
He certainly was barricaded, but again, when we were able to take him into custody, we did.
And how did the evacuation process work?
I believe they were using a back door to get people out of the business.
How long did it last?
I'm sorry?
How long did it go on?
So the call came out at about 8:10 a.m., and I believe the suspect was taken into custody at approximately 9:30 a.m. So not too terribly long.
Later on this morning or early afternoon, we'll be able to determine if there was a weapon actually involved.
Correct. We should have more information. I do know that the suspect will be arrested and taken to jail, but what the charges are still pending at this time as we conduct an investigation.
I saw several SWAT members coming out of the building. What happens after the subject was arrested? It just seemed awkward that everybody was inside as far as police.
Sure. So that's pretty standard. We want to make sure that we know everyone is safe. We want to make sure that there wasn't someone actually inside that we weren't aware of. And then as well, like I mentioned, we had lots of information that the suspect had some type of weapon and also possibly a firearm. And so I believe they were probably checking the premise to make sure, again, there were no victims, and then also for any other possible weapons that could have been inside.
Do we know why he was agitated?
I'm not sure why. And again, at this point, he's not speaking very much, and so we don't have a lot of information, but officers are working to determine that.
And I assume that there's video that y'all are looking at.
I do believe there's video footage available, yes. I failed to mention any shelter in place has now been lifted, and all of the roadways have reopened. No known threat to the. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And